Hello ladies and gentlemen, Tevaron here, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena gameplay. Today we're going to be playing a white-green midrange deck, very similar to the deck that Craig Wesco took to a 7-3 constructed record at Pro Tour Dominaria. It's not card for card his list, it is very similar. This is a list that went 7-1 in the Magic Online Championship Series on June the 9th, piloted by QB Turtle 15. So what are the card differences starting out? Well, QB15 cut 1 Rishkar, 2 Aethersphere Harvesters, 1 Blossoming Defense, and a cast out from the main deck to add in 2 Jadelight Rangers, 1 Thrashing Brontodon, and 2 Angel of Sanctions. From the board, they removed 1 Brontodon since it's been moved to the main deck, and 1 Skyweller's Shot to add in a Sentinel Totem and a Karn. Otherwise, the deck is pretty much the same, though the mana base is slightly different. If you would like to compare card for card and look at the two decks side by side, I will have links to both of them in the description below. But for now, let's just go over what this deck is looking to do. So, we are running 10 mana ramp creatures in the form of Llanowar Elves, Servant of the Conduit, and Rishkar Pima Renegade, even in a Chain Whirler format. Llanowar Elves is still good enough to get the nod for the main deck, though we do tend to side those out against Chain Whirler decks. So we've got all this ramp. What exactly are we ramping into? Well, as early as turn 3, we can be dropping cards like Lyra Dawnbringer or Sky Sovereign Consul Flagship, which are huge flying beaters. Or also on turn 3, we could just drop a Shalai Voice of Plenty to protect our other creatures and planeswalkers, as well as make us settle the wreckage proof, while holding up a green to protect her with one of our 3 Blossoming Defenses. We're also running some utility creatures, the first 2 of which are Walking Ballista and Angel of Sanctions, serving dual purposes as both threat and removal. In the late game, in fact, Walking Ballista can just outright kill the opponent, and Angel of Sanctions also has the Embalm ability, so he gets to serve double duty, coming back from the graveyard. Our next 2 utility creatures are 3 Jadelight Ranger and 2 Thrashing Brontodon. Jadelight Ranger lets us filter our draws, find lands when we need them, mill cards away that we don't actually want to draw, while occasionally just getting huge. And Thrashing Brontodon has great stats at a 3/4 for 3, while also being able to be sacrificed to destroy an artifact or enchantment that is being a thorn in our side. Then, sort of as a catch-all, we're running a pair of Cast Out to deal with problem non-land permanents on the opponent's side of the battlefield. And at the very top end of our curve are a pair of Ajani Unyielding. Very powerful in this deck. 6 mana for a 4 loyalty planeswalker. +2, reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. -2, exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power, basically Swords to Plowshares. And its ultimate, in the right situation, will win the game, though we will very rarely ever be in a situation that we want to use that. Mainly just ticking up and getting non-stop threats is the way we want to go. But if the situation warrants, we can -9 to put 5 +1/+1 counters on each creature we control and 5 loyalty counters on each other planeswalker we control. Though there are no other planeswalkers main deck, there are a couple in the sideboard. The mana base is 6 plains, 1 Sheffet Dunes, 7 forests, 2 Hashep Oasis, 4 Scattered Groves, and 4 Sunpetal Grove. In the sideboard, we have 1 Sentinel Totem to help us deal with decks that are looking to use graveyards as resources, such as God Pharaoh's Gift or Scarab God decks. We're running 3 Baffling in to bring in against other creature-based decks, get rid of the blockers so that we can just keep swinging in. 2 Heroic Intervention to stop our things from being destroyed and targeted. 1 Naturalize as an extra artifact and enchantment removal. 2 Thopter Arrest as removal for bigger creatures that Baffling End can't hit. 3 Prowling Serpapard to make sure our things can't be countered. Also against control decks with counter spells, turn 3 Prowling Serpapard into turn 4 Shalai is pretty ridiculous. At that point they can't counter the Shalai, and then they also can't remove the Serpapard. Then we have our Planeswalker package coming in from the board, mostly against control decks, a Karn Scion of Urza, and Nissa Vital Force, both of which help us pull out the late game if we can manage to get there. Nissa especially turning our lands into 5/5 threats, or by returning our permanents from the graveyard so that we can continue to present a never-ending stream of aggression. That, my friends, is the deck list. Let's play some games, shall we? This hand is not great. If we had one more mana, it would be a definite keep, but I don't think we can afford to. Yep, throw it back. That's a little better, I guess. I don't think we can afford to go down to 5. Oh, that's great. Elf on top. That is exactly what we wanted to see. Looming Marsh, perhaps a Constrictor deck? Well, there's an elf. Turn 1 for the opponent. We will call that. We are still in desperate needs of lands. Don't really have anything going on next turn. Yep, there's a Constrictor. We could swing in, try to get them to block to Blossoming Defense. I don't think they're going to. I think we're just going to pass here. If they don't play anything with counters and we can top deck a land, we might be okay. We can cast out their Constrictor. We still need another land for Lyra, and it needs to be white. Nope, there's Rishkar. We're probably pretty dead here. This was an unfortunate set of turns for us. Bad draw, mediocre mulligan. Opponent had basically the nuts. Well, we are way behind, so we're going to have to take a risk. We are going to block. And then we're going to double Blossoming Defense. If opponent also has a Blossoming Defense, then we are even more dead than we already were. Also, even if they don't, feels really bad to use 2 Blossoming Defenses to get rid of a Winding Constrictor, but it had to be done. There's an Adventurous Impulse. Forest, okay. That's one of the least scary things they could have found, I guess. Unless they have a Gear Hulk in hand. Alright, we're going to have to cycle this cast out. Into another Blossoming Defense. Awesome. Chupacabra. Alright, guess we're going to be using another Blossoming Defense. Getting our money's worth out of those, aren't we? So at least that stops the Llanowar Elves from attacking. We're definitely not going to block. There we go. We needed that. Going to drop Shalai. Hopefully they don't have removal for her. If we can get one more land and play out Lyra next turn, we'll be in decent shape. That is all assuming that Shalai survives. She's not going to, though. There's a second Chupacabra. Still have the wish to draw an untapped land so that we can cast Lyra. Instead, we draw a second Lyra, so we can block here, take 5, go to 4. Guess we're not technically just dead on board. Though actually, if we block them, there's no way we can play Lyra next turn, so we're pretty dead. Yeah, we're dead. Good game, opponent. Let's go to game 2. So we definitely want to bring in Baffling Ends and Thopter Arrests. No need for the rest of this stuff, I don't think. So the question now is, what do we take out? I think we'll cut a couple of Servants. We'll cut a Jadelight Ranger. We'll cut a Rishkar. Go down to 1 on that. And then I think that we will also cut one Ajani Unyielding as he's very high on the curve. Don't get me wrong, I think he's still good in this matchup, but we have to make cuts somewhere. So, I guess we could cut a Thrashing Brontodon. It's unlikely they have any enchantments we want to get rid of. Still a good-sized body. Though, no, we're going to leave that in. They're almost certainly running Walking Ballistas. So yeah, cut an Ajani, and we'll submit. Better hand, please, game. I mean, that's better. Definitely better than the first one. We will keep. It's not the nuts by any means. The opponent had that the first game. Let's go with that. I'm not certain if we're going to drop Ballista on 2 or not. We may hold it for a bit. Adventurous Impulse. Well, there's no elf for us to kill, so that kind of incentivizes us to hold on to it. There's a Sky Sovereign. Want to get that in play as soon as possible. So maybe we do drop the Ballista. Hoping to draw the one of Rishkar. Nah. We'll just attack with our elf. And pass the turn. At least we are going to get to use our cast out this game, instead of cycling it. No black mana for the opponent, huh? Seems good for us. That seems less than good, though. We got a dead elf? No? Alright, well, that's fine. Let's go ahead and play our Ballista on 2. Hopefully, they will not kill our elf and we can Sky Sovereign next turn. We don't want to shoot their Ballista because that will incentivize them to use their Ballista to kill our elf, and we want that 5th mana. Alright, Siphoner, sure. Yep. An elf, okay. Got a lot of targets for our Ballista if we want to fire it off. I just very much want them to not kill my elf. Please just let us untap with this. Thank you so much. So we could play Lyra, but honestly Sky Sovereign is just the much better thing to be putting out now. Come into play, we're going to kill something. Probably this Ballista. If they want to kill our elf now, we don't really care. Yeah, you got it. Now we're also... We're going to attack first. Maybe we can get in 2 free damage. Alright, awesome. Because we are definitely going to kill their 2 creatures. Get the board back very much in our favor. Next turn we can play Lyra, crew this thing up, maybe kill something if they play something killable, since we get the trigger on attack as well. That's a great target. They could have a Blossoming Defense, we just drew one ourselves. Let's go for Lyra. Have her jump inside the big boat. And we'll commence to swinging. So defense or hit us for 1. Looks like we're getting hit for 1. Alright, please no Chupacabra or Vraska's Contempt. If we can untap with this, have Blossoming Defense up, I think we're in good shape to win this game. But nope, there's the Chupacabra. That's super unfortunate. Alright, well, if we draw another Lyra, at least we have the manas to play her out and hold up Blossoming Defense at that point. Jade Light Ranger, okay. Now we just want to draw some critters, okay? 2 lands. No counters on that thing is great for us. Just going to take the 2 here. We'll hold the cast out for something that's a lot more threatening than these 2. Rishkar? Sure. It sucks to have to play him out with only himself to put the counter on. But at least we can protect him. And he's big enough to crew the big boat. And big boat wants to come play. Go ahead and kill this Jade Light. Hopefully the opponent is drawing dead here. That is not drawing dead. I expect Vraska to take down and kill our Sky Sovereign. Yep. If we had an untapped creature with 3 power, we could have crewed it and Blossoming Defensed it, but we didn't have that available. Opponent has all the mana in the world. We are definitely going to cast out Vraska, which we don't have mana on their instep. It's lit up because we can cycle it. Alright, well, we will be doing that now. Technically better to attack there first. Probably should have done that. Think opponent's probably obligated to block either way, though. Or not. Maybe they've got something ridiculous in hand. Rishkar of their own, sure. Alright, so now they got blockers capable of trading with our Rishkar. Except we have Blossoming Defense. They could also. Never know what that last card in hand is. Well, now we know. It is a Gear Hulk. So, our best draw now is Walking Ballista. Yep. That is a lot of power and toughness. That's not Walking Ballista, but it will do in a pinch. Make sure to leave up green for our Blossoming Defense. And we're not going to swing. Unless things go really sideways, we should have this game now. Another Gear Hulk, sure. Alright, how are we distributing these? So 8, 5, 5. That should be fine. So we will block Chupacabra. We'll block Rishkar. Blossoming Defense on Lyra. And that should be the game. Actually didn't even need to Blossoming Defense Lyra there. She has first strike, but they had no cards in hand, so no big deal. Alright, I think we'll just run it back. Alright, so this hand is a little slow, but I think it's definitely worth keeping. Let's do that. It's a very close 7, but I'd rather keep a close 7 than go for a potential unplayable 6. Alright, we'll lead off with Sunpetal Grove. Got next turn Servant. Guess we could go Ballista and kill this elf, maybe. Just depending here. There's a Siphoner. That's something that's also potentially worth killing. Another elf, okay. Well, opponent is just exploding. So I do think we play Servant this turn. If Servant survives, we can go 2-2 Ballista next turn and kill 2 things. As long as nothing is coming from the opponent to protect them, like a Rishkar. To put counters on them. Alright. Adventurous Impulse is not a very scary thing. Winding Constrictor could be. There's the Constrictor. And there's a Ballista. So are they going to kill my Servant, or are they going to let me untap with it? They should kill it, in all honesty. Yep, they're going to. Good play, opponent. Alright, so now we can either Jade Light Ranger or Ballista for 1. If we Ballista for 1 and they swing, we can block Constrictor and then kill the Siphoner. Be better to kill the Siphoner before they get to draw a card from it, though. I think we're better off just spending our mana efficiently this turn. Let's see what Jade Light Ranger finds us. Alright, 2 lands. Not exactly what we were in the market for, but if we can survive to start dropping Lyra, then maybe we can get there. Alright, that Jade Light could get humongous. And a Vraska on top too. Alright, so we definitely have to kill these Llanowar Elves next turn, or they're going to be able to draw and play that Vraska. And we have to kill them both because if this last card in hand is a land, then killing one would still enable them to play Vraska. Sun Petal Grove. Let's go for the Ballista. And we have to shoot the elves. Come on, take my click. Thank you, game. Alright, so a little bit of breathing room there. Yeah, I'm drawing cards from that Glitzleaf Siphoner. Makes me want to play Ballista and kill it next turn instead of playing Lyra. If they have a land this turn, I think we're going to have to do that. Jade Light's really bad too. There's another Siphoner. They left it on top. So no land this turn means they can't play Vraska next turn. I don't know why they're not attacking with the Constrictor. We have no mana up. But sure, we'll take a free 2 life. Alright, never mind. Now they can play Vraska next turn if they draw a land. Of course, they're not going to, because there's a Siphoner on top, but this draws a second card. Huh. So we're just dead if we play Ballista and shoot the elf plus the Siphoner, because then they just attack for 14. So we're kind of in the boat. We just have to play Lyra and pray that they don't have a land under that Siphoner. No land one time. Alright, good game. We are super dead. Right, we don't know what opponent's on. This is a kind of a slow hand. But in the dark, I think we're going to keep it. If we're up against mono red, we're probably just going to die. We'll give it a shot. Opponent mulliganed. Alright, not mono red. Great. We'll lead off with the Scattered Groves, which will let our check lands come into play untapped. If we could draw a Mana Dork, Servant, or Llanowar Elves, that would be awesome. Cycling main phase, okay. We'll go that. Nothing else we can do. And now we get to start jamming stuff and hope that they resolve. We'll lead off with the Jade Light Ranger. Alright, getting Essence scattered. Now it's just us presenting threats and hoping that the opponent can't answer them. Scattered Groves, huh? Well, let's go with Brontodon. Disallow, sure. Glad to have a disallow used on that. Then we'll play our other Groves. Right. No Teferi or anything. Now we're going to try to resolve the Sky Sovereign. Sky Sovereign's good in this matchup since it can't be fumigated. Guess it's not for certain that they're running Fumigate, but a lot of these blue-white decks do. Ixalan's binding on my Skyboat. Okay. So, Cast Out's a decent draw there. Let's try for Shalai. No Essence Scatter, please. Awesome. So now we've got Blossoming Defense to defend her. So we don't want to hit end turn down here and pass priority. We want to be able to respond to removal. Just keep passing the phases there. Another Scattered Grove. We might want to cycle that one. Let's go to combat. Go ahead and attack. Seal away. Let that resolve. They target Shalai. We Blossoming Defense Shalai. They are down to 1 card. Seems pretty good for us. I think we're going to Angel of Sanctions. Grab that Ixalan's Binding. And that's the game. Alright, so in this matchup, we want to take out our Lyras. We want to take out 1 Sky Sovereign, even though it's pretty good in the matchup. We want to take out both of our Rishkars, 2 Servants, and a Jade Light Ranger. We want to bring in... Ooh, not Baffling End. Heroic Intervention. We want to bring in Naturalize, Prowling Serpapard, Nissas, and Karn. Alright, another slow hand. So knowing what our opponent is on, I think we're going to risk mulliganing this. Try to get a bit of a faster start. It's debatably faster. We don't have a comes into play untapped green source, but we're going to keep it. Opponent mulliganed also. A Johnny. I mean, we're a long way from casting it, but he's one of the best cards in the matchup, so I guess we'll keep it on top. We'll lead off with a Plains. We may cycle this Cast Out, though it's also one of the better cards in the matchup. If they Ixalan's Binding this or cast it out, then we can get it back with Cast Out. It's especially good in response to a Settle the Wreckage because Shalai stops Settle the Wreckage. Kind of a blowout if we can manage that. We haven't seen any sweepers from them though. I think we're going to hold on to it for now. Alright, Forest. But we want to get some Petal Grove out, so let's cast our Elf. We can attempt Shalai next turn. Alright, opponent with no white mana. Walking Ballista, we'll hold that for now. We are going to go ahead and try for Shalai. Disallow, okay. Hopefully about the time we hit our 6th mana source, they will tap out for something, and we can resolve our Ajani. Still no white mana from the opponent. Interesting. So we could Ballista here. Generally you want to wait on Ballista until after they've settled the Wreckage juice so that you have a use for all that mana. But I think we're going to get a little aggressive here. Let's go ahead and attack. Then we'll try for a Ballista on 2. Also, running the opponent out of counter magic does have its value, especially if they don't hit a white source for actual removal for resolve threats anytime soon. And they still have not. Alright, so we could try to jam a Johnny here. I don't think we should do that. I think we're just going to attack. Then we will lay out our Servant. Right, Servant resolved, but they did have something to respond there. So we saw from the pause. We'll end the turn. Alright, they've hit a white source now. So could be actual removal forthcoming. I think we'll go and attack first. Alright, seal away, sure. Yep, you got it. And again, we could go for a Johnny. There was a pause when we cast that Servant, though. So they had some sort of response in hand. Yeah, I think we're just going to pass the turn. They don't present us with a threat. We may just cast out this seal away. Alright, let's attack again. Maybe should have done the cast out like I talked about. Alright, land drop. So we're going to do cast out now. If they counter it, that makes it more likely that a Johnny can resolve. Right, it didn't seem like they had a response, or maybe they just hit the end turn down here that passes all priority. Let's go and attack. Right, nothing there. We're going to be on the safe side. We're going to go for Ballista. So we can do it for 3. Disallow. Awesome. Glad we didn't go for a Johnny now. They definitely had an answer to it. Right, that's a lot of mana and not a lot of white. Let's attack. And I'm still just going to keep passing. I do not want to run this Ajani into counter magic. Ixalan's Binding, sure. So 1 card in hand, now I think we're going to jam it. Please resolve. Awesome. That is exactly what we wanted to see. Tick up, please.
Greater together.
Yes. That is great. Angel of Sanction, sure. We got one of those too. Last card is a Karn. We got one of those as well. Fancy that.
I battle for the forces. The choices we make reveal who we are.
We will give you the plains. Alright, so now what we're going to do is attack. Of course, they know we got Sky Sovereign. Could go Nissa Vital Force. Untap. We do want to get that Angel of Sanctions off the board, though. Yeah, let's see if they are just not being observant. We'll go ahead and attack their face. Alright, awesome. They know about this Sky Sovereign, that is for certain. Go ahead and kill that. I mean, they can embalm it next turn, true, but we get another activation. Okay, well, that's game. Never mind. I was going to say we get another activation off of Johnny. Alright, what I wouldn't give for a turn 1 Lana War Elves, but I think this is keepable. We've got turn 2 Servant. Looks like we're up against another green deck. Scattered Groves is our play for sure. It's always going to come into play tapped. Nothing we can do about that, so might as well play it out when we don't have anything to cast. Alright, so this may be a really bad matchup. This is the Fungus Token deck. I have not played against this with this deck. Doesn't change what we have to do here, so Servant it is. Alright, Sap Herd. Yeah, that's a lot of 1/1 tokens. Sun Petal Grove. So I think we played the Sun Petal Grove, and then play out 2 more servants. Go ahead and get our mana production online. Hopefully they don't have a Fungus Lord this turn. Alright, they had a Fungus Lord. So that's 9 damage coming. So we can block and trade with these. Don't think we want to do that. Take this and go to 11. We can play Archangel of Sanctions. Not Archangel, but Angel of Sanctions. Get rid of this Thallid. Yeah, no blockers. Forest, sure, we will play that. Go ahead and make white mana. Play our Angel. We have to get rid of this Spore Crown Thallid. Shrink the team down. And then we will pass back over. Oh. Why did that? I didn't click attack. Why did that happen? What the? And now we don't have... What? I do not understand what just happened. We are certainly dead. I don't know why our guys attacked. I did not do that. Alright, color me confused. So, in this matchup, we certainly want to bring in Baffling Ends and Thopter Arrests. Not the Heroic Intervention. Sorry, kind of on tilt there. I don't know what happened. Those things just kind of attacked on their own. We're going to cut a couple of Servants again. We'll cut a Jade Light Ranger. And I think we're going to cut a Johnny Unyielding. Actually, we could cut a Singleton Blossoming Defense. I don't think those decks play much removal. So let's do that. See how that goes. Hopefully our creatures will not just attack on their own again. Alright, well we actually have turn 1 Llanowar Elves, but we don't have a turn 2 untapped land, unless we draw it. We're going to keep this for sure though. If we happen to top deck an untapped land, then we can play Rishkar or Jade Light Ranger. Alright, well, I guess I'm wrong about not much removal. There was definitely removal. Here's Scattered Groves. Still a chance we can draw an untapped land and drop Jade Light Ranger next turn. Well, there's the Thallid right off the bat. Alright, that is not going to happen apparently. So we'll play Ballista. And plan on Rishkaring onto it and himself. If it survives. We will definitely not be blocking here. No blocks. There's an elf of their own. 2 elves, okay. So if they have Saporling Migration and they have 1 more land, they can kick it next turn for 4 1/1s. For sure we're going to Rishkar. Then I think we attack, and then if they don't block, kill these elves. We could also kill this. We're attacking no matter what, so we'll do that. At least it let me do it myself this time. Sorry, I'll stop harping about that. That was so weird. Oh, in fact, I'm silly because I didn't kill the elves. I am just super tilted by all that. Well, hopefully it doesn't cost us this game. Okay, so maybe it cost us the game. That is Torgar, Famine Incarnate. So we're going to go to 10. see, he's just a 7/6. No other abilities. So I definitely should have killed those elves. Go back to my turn. Baffling End is not going to do it. We do have Thopter Arrest, though. I could also resolve Shalai here because these produce mana. Actually, I think what I want to do is get rid of both of these. So let's go white. And we'll cast Baffling End. Get rid of the Thallid. Then we'll cast Thopter Arrest. Get rid of Torgar. And we're just going to pass the turn. Hopefully that's all the opponent's got going on. There's a Thallid. So definitely not all that they've got going on. Right. End the turn. So we're going to put a counter on Ballista. Oh, why did you... Should have tapped it myself. Never mind. Was going to attack with it. And then when it didn't get blocked, shoot this. But this comes out to the same thing. 3 damage to their face and a dead Thallid. Yeah. Might take a break in recording after this match and get my head back on straight. Right, there's Bontu. Luckily they need more creatures for Bontu to work, which they don't currently have. There is a Lyra. So, do we want Shalai or do we want Lyra? I think we want Shalai. So yeah, tap the Ballista. And then we'll attack with Rishkar. Next turn, we can play Lyra, have Shalai get bigger and gain lifelink. Alright, no creature for the opponents, exactly what we were looking for there. We do want more land, so we're going to play that out. Going to play out Lyra. And I'll be very surprised if that's not game. And it is. Alright. Just submit. Think we're fine the way that we sideboarded. Just need to play a little bit better. Let's not let the bugs get to us, shall we? Alright, this is a great hand. Especially if we get a second white. Let's keep this. Well, I mean, we do have a second white and Servant of the Conduit here. Just need all our stuff to survive. Go for Elf. Hopefully Elf does not die this time. Right, there's the migration. Tempted to block, but no. Johnny, okay. Well, I think what we're going to do is go for Servant. And we're going to hold back, planning to block and Blossoming Defense. If necessary. Then next turn we can resolve a Lyra. Another migration, that's fine. Ish. No black mana from the opponent. That is an issue. So I do think we block and prevent this damage. Maybe we don't. No, I think we definitely do. Go ahead and defense our Servant. And hopefully they don't have removal. It's unlikely since they have no black mana. Get white from our Servant. And if we can untap with Lyra, I think we're in decent shape. Well, there's black, but it came into play tapped. They can't afford to attack. Ah, Shalai. You, my dear, are my hero. So we'll play her out. Then we'll go to combat and swing with Lyra. We're going to leave everything else back. Next turn, we'll probably play a massive walking ballista, take out this Spore Crown Thallid. Just with the tokens, I will block. So no net damage there. Fatal push, okay. That was a decent play. Triggered revolt there. Let's swing with Lyra. Right down to 10. So we could Rishkar. We could have Johnny. But I think I definitely want to Walking Ballista for 3. Tap you. Then we will shoot down this Thallid. And we will pass the turn. Another Thallid, okay. Our life total is such that I don't think we care. Yeah, no blocks. No blockers. Cast out. We'll go... Get back down there. Let's tap you for colorless. We'll go Rishkar. We'll put a counter here and a counter here. Then we will go to combat. We will attack with Lyra and pass the turn. And we don't quite have up enough mana for cast out because of the lack of energy. Rishkar helps out, but not enough. But enough to get there. Okay, again, not the perfect hand, but I think it's perfectly keepable, so let's do that. Alright, looks like we're up against a red deck. Lead off with Scattered Groves. Hopefully our Servant of the Conduit will survive when we play it out there. It's important for us to get to our big drops against this deck before they can do enough damage that it doesn't really matter. Well, they're going with Shock off the bat, which is kind of aggressive, to be honest, against a green-white deck. Makes me think they've got a Hazoret in their hand if they're playing Shock on my end step. Because Shock is definitely good to kill creatures in a green matchup. Right, Soulscar Mage must have just top-decked that. Glad you showed up late to the party on their side. We will go for Servant. Hopefully they don't have another Shock. We will pass. Alright, no 3-drop. We will certainly not be blocking. They would not be making this attack unless they had an instant to cast to pump this Soulscar Mage. Sure. Much rather it go to that Servant than to my face, though I wish the Servant had survived. And a Lightning Strike, okay. Makes me feel even more that they've got a Hazoret in their hand. I hope that's not the case for our sake. Well, our only good play here is Jade Light, so we'll do that. 2 more lands, huh? Alright, I guess we'll take them. We can start dropping our Angels next turn. Don't know if that's going to be enough. We're already down to 12. Yep, there's Hazoret. That's what I figured. So we got a chump here. Can't afford to take 5 from her. What we would have loved to have gotten off that Jade Light was a Lyra. Unfortunately, that was not to be the case. Let's go for Shalai. And pass. And we're not going to chump here. We're going to block Soulscar Mage, planning to Angel of Sanctions the Hazoret. Well, guess we're not blocking anything. Taking 9. So now it's pretty much Lyra or bust. We need Lyra to give Shalai lifelink so that we can attack and gain some life. Otherwise, they can just untap and pitch a card to Hazoret and we're dead. And that is not what that is. So, we are dead. Good game, opponent. So this red deck is almost certainly running Chain Whirlers, so we're going to take out our Llanowar Elves. We're going to take out a Jade Light Ranger. We're going to bring in Baffling Ends and Thopter Arrests. And I think that that is it. Alright, yeah, this is a fine hand. Let's hope that we can live long enough to make it work. Alright, opponent mulligan to 5, that is a good sign. Doesn't mean that they can't just kill us out of nowhere, because that's what the red decks can do sometimes. Alright, Bomat Courier, that's an excellent turn 1 play for them, that's for sure. Hopefully our servant isn't about to get shocked for a second game in a row. We can't afford to just wait. We need to get mana online to play our stuff. This survives. We can Ballista for 2 next turn and kill it while still leaving the Ballista alive. But I think Servant's dying. Yep. Shock to the face. Alright, Lyra's good. Still need 1 more land for her. So we're going to Ballista. And pay for 1. So I think we should probably kill this thing before it can get another card in under it. That would allow, if we let them untap, they could play a land, play another burn spell, and then get a lot of value from this. So we're going to shoot it. Alright, chose not to sack it. Cards in hand must be pretty good. Going to hold on to this cast out. We can cast it next turn. Hopefully we will top deck a land next turn or the turn after. Alright, there's Chain Whirler. Yep, hit us for 1. Another Blossoming Defense. Alright, so we're going to end the turn. We will cast this thing out if they don't play a Hazoret here, I think. We might take 3. Just see if they cast Hazoret post-combat. Which they shouldn't, because if they had Hazoret, they could play a land, play Hazoret, 1 card in hand, and Hazoret would be able to attack. So yeah, we're going to cast out this Chain Whirler. Alright, another Chain Whirler. Hopefully the last 2 cards in hand are not Shock plus Lightning Strike, because that would kill our Lyra. Well, it's not. They got a land. We didn't hit a land for Lyra, though. But we can hold up Blossoming Defense. So we will go ahead and pass back. I would still like to hit an untapped land next turn so that we can Lyra plus hold up Blossoming Defense. Chandra, eh?
Let's do this!
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Is that a removal spell coming this way? Well, they're looking at my servant, so yes it is. Well, we're going to say no to that one. This will stop Chain Whirler from attacking 2. So now we're hoping, or it won't? Okay, well that was almost really strange. So, this is interesting. We could play Lyra, however, if they top deck a burn spell or another chain whirler, they can just kill Lyra with Chandra. So I think actually our best play here is Shalai and hold up Blossoming Defense. We're just going to pass the turn. The next turn we can Lyra. Shalai will protect Lyra. Lyra will give Shalai lifelink. And if we draw an untapped land, we can still have Blossoming Defense if we don't use it here. Yeah. Please and thank you. Alright, so I feel like we're in pretty good shape now. And there's our land, even though we actually didn't need it at that point. Let's go ahead and kill Chandra.
Alright, that's it!
Gain some life. And opponent's going to need some incredible draws for this not to be game over. Definitely don't want to trade our Lyra for this Chain Whirler plus a burn spell here. Right, we will attack with everything. Not even going to show them this Ajani. Sure, you got a Hazoret. At this point, we don't really care about Hazoret. And that's the game. Hopefully Game 3 will come together just like Game 2 and not Game 1. Let's submit. Alright, again, I think we definitely keep this. We've got turn 2 Servant into turn 3 Rishkar if the Servant survives, which Servant has not yet survived. So, you know, I don't know why we're counting on it surviving this time, but we're going to try. Important to note, too, that we were pretty close in that last game, and the opponent mulliganed to 5 there, so maybe that doesn't bode too well for us. Right, a land, that is fine. Play out Servant, fingers crossed for no removal. Please, don't kill my Servant. Have a hard opponent. Let my Servant live just once, please. Nope, Servant's dying. And it's a shock. Really wish it was a lightning strike. Really makes me think the opponent has another spell that they want to cast on their turn, and since they did that on my turn instead of theirs, then they have Soulscar Mage out, so they missed a point of prowess damage there. Into Combat Celebrant, really? That is unusual in a mono red list that's not God Pharaoh's Gift. And generally, the God Pharaoh's Gift decks are Goblin decks. Alright, so we can play Rishkar here if it survives, and if we draw an untapped source, we can play Sky Sovereign. Yep, I think that we have to go for that, as unlikely as it is to all shape up together. So they can exert here. If we don't block, we take 4, 5, 6. That is if there's no other creatures or spells coming. I guess we could block Soulscar Mage. Then if they have 2 burn spells, they get to hit us in the face with those plus kill Rishkar while Soulscar Mage lives. Or if they just have a shock, they shrink Rishkar and then Soulscar Mage eats it. Combat Celebrant is definitely unusual. Maybe they bring that in out of the board. Don't imagine it's main deck, not in a format with Chain Whirlers. Alright, so this is real bad. We're about to take a metric butt ton of damage here. And yes, that is absolutely a technical and accurate term. In fact, we're going to 6. So if they got basically anything else, we're going to die next turn. Alright, we didn't draw an untapped mana. We could cast out something. Soulscar Mage is bad for us, that's for sure. We could also Ballista for 2 and kill it. Then we would not have a Ballista. I think we are going to Groves. Then we are going to Ballista for 2. And we're going to start off by shooting this Combat Celebrant. We're going to have this hang around. It can help us with mana next turn if it survives. And if not, we can shoot our opponent in the face with it. Alright, so we're shooting our opponent in the face with it. And Chain Whirler's about the worst thing we could have seen there, because the -1/-1 counter is going to cancel this out, so Rishkar can no longer produce mana for us, so now we're on the boat of needing an untapped mana again. And even that may not be enough here. So in hindsight, probably should have just cast out the Soulscar Mage. I mean, they have another one, so I guess it wouldn't have mattered. So we can cast out Crasher, block here, and not be dead on board. If they've got anything, we're still dead. But it's the only shot we got, so cast you out so that we don't just die to board. Nothing. Got a shock. We're going to get shocked to the face and killed by Soulscar Mages. Nope, got a Phoenix. Alright, still pretty dead. So we could Sky Sovereign and kill this, then we're just dead. Yeah, we're just dead. Good game. Alright, well, 2 and 2, even though they're not lighting up. See what we get. Got our entry fee back. Got some stuff we already have that gets us closer to opening up the vault. Let's jump back in. Play a couple more games. Yeah, we cannot keep a no-land hand, unfortunately. It's nice to be on the play, but not without lands to cast our spells. That's a bit better. Do wish we had some gas besides the elves, but hopefully we will draw that. Blossoming Defense is not the card we're looking for. We'll go Forest into Elf. Alright, red again. Maybe we can redeem ourselves. Play you out. Get in there for 1. And what we would love to happen is for them to play a creature here and for us to draw an untapped land so that we can Sky Sovereign and kill said creature. Doesn't look like that's what's happening. Thankfully, though, we can drop Shalai. Hopefully they won't kill either of our elves in response. Sweet. Okay, so this is not mono red aggro. What is this card? Imminent Doom. Name is ominous. Enters the battlefield with a Doom counter on it. Whenever you cast a spell with converted mana cost equal to the number of Doom counters, deals that much damage to any target, then put a Doom counter on it. Okay, so they need to cast a 1-drop to get that to fire. Cool beans. So, I guess we're going with... to go with Cast Out, since that seems to be what their deck's built around. Let's just not let them have that card. Could have cast Ranger or Sky Sovereign. Evolving Wilds, do you have a second color? Opponent friend? You do not. So opponent is playing a sweet deck, that is for certain. I am going to check something here. I am just going to hit spacebar like I did before Does this... Okay, so spacebar does all attack now. It did not do that before. Before, if you hit spacebar, it just skipped through the combat step. So that must be a new update thing. So now I know that I did that to myself. Good to know. Graveyard? Yeah, we'll keep that. Can't really cast a Johnny, so... No need to draw him yet. So this seems to be a red control deck. I would not be surprised to see Hour of Devastation being cast at some point. There's a Primal Amulet, so that pairs really well with this Imminent Doom, it seems. Alright. Just to get a counter. Okay. Well. Play that. And I think we're just going to blow up that Primal Amulet. We were one mana short from pumping our team that turn, but I think we're going to get there anyway if our board doesn't get wiped this turn. Awesome. So I don't know what to bring in here except maybe hedge with Heroic Intervention. Maybe we bring in Naturalize also. Yeah, let's try that. We'll bring in Heroic Intervention, Naturalize. I'm thinking Sky Sovereign's not going to be good in this matchup, though they could be running creatures. We didn't see any. And then I guess we'll cut a Jade Light and submit that. Really am curious as to what the opponent's deck's trying to get going there. And I would super like to see it go off, but then also on the other hand of that, I would also like to not lose the match to it, so kind of a balancing act there. If we could lose this game to it and see it do something incredibly sweet and then win game 3, that would be the best of both worlds. Alright, it's a little slow, but I think we'll keep it. Speaking of sweet decks, this week I've also been trying a mono-blue Paradoxical Storm deck that uses Aetherflux Reservoir to win the game. It's not great, and I've lost a whole lot of games with it, but when it goes off, man is it super sweet. I would be really interested to know if you guys would be interested in watching something like that. If you could let me know if you wouldn't mind me losing a bunch of games, if you could see that deck, you know, just do its thing, because it really is incredibly sweet when it works, but in the aggro red meta that's on Arena, it doesn't get to work very often, though it can occasionally go off versus the red decks. I've beat them a couple of times, though lost to them far more. Alright, opponent has decided to play a land and pass. Well, we really don't have anything going on, so we'll play a forest and pass. Alright, mountain. Imminent Doom. Okay, opponent's got it going. I almost want to hold back and not play anything. I want to see what this deck does. Tell you what, we'll kind of hedge. We'll play out Thrashing Brontodon, but we won't blow this thing up immediately. And if they can manage to kill it, they kill it. Chandra, guess Brontodon's dying.
Hey, over here.
Yep, that's a dead Brontodon. So we could Rishkar. If Rishkar comes out and lives, we can Ajani next turn. I think we'll just play Shalai for now. I mean, I may be wrong about what opponent's got going on, but between Imminent Doom and the Primal Amulet, this definitely feels like some sort of combo deck.
Oh, today's my lucky day.
Ooh, second Chandra, huh? This is the Planeswalker deck one? 2 damage to each opponent, 4 damage, okay. Sweet. Excellent. Alrighty, well, we'll play out our Scattered Groves. Well, I want the option to be able to cast a Johnny next turn, so I guess we're going to Llanowar Elves and then Rishkar.
This'll be easy.
Mana, huh? 6 mana isn't enough for what you're trying to do? Treasure map, okay. Yep, that's a scry. Feels like our Llanowar Elves is going to die. Yep. Dead. Didn't trigger imminent doom, though. Rishkar dying, too? Yep. Alright, well, opponent has no cards in hand. This is -3 to do 4 damage. So if we want an Angel of Sanctions, we actually have to take this one. Because if we take this one, then this one can go ahead and -3 and do 4 damage again and kill our Angel of Sanctions. Whereas this Chandra has to sacrifice herself to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. Play our other Scattered Grove. Yep, got a Scry. Just as a tip for you guys that are unaware, you can put stops in here. If opponent had clicked here, like I did there and added a stop, it would have stopped before they drew and they could have treasure mapped in their upkeep. Flame Lash, okay, that's super sweet too. Is this... because that's in the Planeswalker deck as well. Yeah, not super sure. So, we can Angel of Sanctions again. However, Chandra can now kill it and live. So we could Shalai. I think we want to a Johnny now, though. And despite us...
I will teach you humility.
Not really trying to throw this game away. I think that we're in not great shape. Double Chandra is kind of pecking away at us here. Yep, flipping the treasure map. Opponent still has not really done anything with imminent doom.
Is gonna hurt.
Beginning to wonder if there actually is something going on with that in the deck, or if it's just in there. Right, so they can ultimate this in 2 turns. Do 6 damage to us and our Planeswalkers. And creatures. So, guess we're going to plus again. Okay. So Cast Out was a good draw there. So many options now. Really wish we had one more land so that we could Shalai plus Cast Out. As it is, I think we're going to Llanowar Elves. And Servant. And then we're going to cast out the Chandra that is closer to ultimating. Feel like one of my critters is about to die here. Yep, Hungry Flames.
It is not too late to change your mind.
Okay, opponent drawing some cards. I do not know why they have Evolving Wilds in their mono red deck. The thinning from the wilds
You're going down.
is such a small percentage, it's not really worth doing. If you're not in a 2-color deck, especially since it's ostensibly it comes into play tapped land, it slows you down. Yeah, I'm not thinking that this is a combo deck anymore. I'm thinking that this is just a person that doesn't have a lot of cards yet, and they're trying to just play a sweet red deck, which it is. Right, we'll go Oasis. I could exile that Lannery Storm. Or we could tick up. I think we're going to Shalai no matter what. Though we could Sanctions and get this. Well, Shalai protects our stuff, though. Yeah, we're going to exile Lannery Storm. Our hand is pretty chock full of stuff right now.
Now do you see the benefits of peace?
Then we will Shalai. And Angel of Sanctions with Shalai's protection. Go ahead and take Chandra. And as I said, since it seems like this is not actually a combo deck, I think we're just going to make an effort to kill our opponent now. There's another Chandra.
What? My hair is on fire?
So Shalai probably just dying here.
It's playtime.
Yep, she eats a fireball. A braid. Okay. Yeah, a braid doesn't... It's the second time opponent's done that. I think opponent's just a newer player. That's fine. We all have to learn at some point. They have an empty hand. Still want to get this Shalai out to protect our stuff. Alright, we'll play out Lyra 2. Might as well go ahead and tick up a Johnny. I think this game's over, though. Yep, that's fine. Kill this Chandra.
Hey! Watch it!
Alright. Drawing a card with Treasure Cove. Another Evolving Wilds. Okay. Well, there is the Hour of Devastation that we suspected might be in there.
Fine.
And it definitely did a number on us. That was a really bad time for them to draw that.
Oh, today's my lucky day.
Luckily, a Johnny got to stick around. Let's embalm Angel of Sanctions. And I should have tapped my own mana there. Get lazy sometimes. Then... Actually, we'll just cast Walking Ballista. And make the best of a poor mana tap situation. Instead of taking damage from a Hashep Oasis to cast a Servant. We'll plus. Yep, so another Ballista. Let's see. Let's attack. We'll unload our hand here. Actually, let's start like this. That way I can still be lazy. And get the mana to tap correctly. Anyway. And hopefully there will be not another Hour of Devastation forthcoming. Right, back to me. We'll continue to plus. So another Ballista. Let's attack. Five. Think we've got enough lands to do Ballista for 5. And we will end this. Alright. We'll continue to shoot you. For those that don't know, killing something with a trigger on the stack does not stop, or an activation on the stack, does not stop the activation from happening. You will still kill it, and the activation will still resolve. And we got there. It feels like the ranking thing is kind of broken. We just gained as much from that as we did from playing the diamond player. So, yeah, I don't know about the ranking thing, whether it's working as intended or not. Yeah, we will definitely keep this. Would be nice if we had a Llanowar Elves instead of the Servant, but Servant will do. Also would be nice if we didn't have the second Rishkar, but Rishkars have been known to die, so maybe we can get to play both of them. I think we may be up against Paradoxical Storm. It plays that land. That's the mono blue Aetherflux Reservoir deck that I was talking about in the last match. And that is exactly what it appears to be. So, let's go Rishkar. We need to be aggressive versus this. We could play out Llanowar Elves. I think we just want to do 3 damage. Once this thing gets going, it gains a metric ton of life. Okay, so it's got white in it too, huh? Maybe it's not exactly what I thought it was then. Alright, either way. So they could have Fumigate next turn. Let's attack. Could Brontodon and blow that thing up. I think I'm going to do that. I don't know what we're against here. I thought it was the Paradoxical Storm deck, but I'm thinking maybe not anymore. Yep. Just want my stuff to not get fumigated. Another Power Stone Shard. Alright, so they didn't have a second white mana. So I guess we'll just attack again. We'll Ballista for 2. Let's see if they have something to deal with all this damage. Another Power Stone Shard. I mean, they got a ton of mana, that's for sure. But it's all colorless at this point. They could play a Karn. Or another Shard. And now they can tap this and have 4 again, but okay. I am super not sure what the opponent's about here. We saw white and blue. They have Power Stone Shards. I think we're going to kind of hedge. We're going to bring in a Naturalize. We'll bring in Nissas. We'll bring in Heroic Interventions. I'm not going to bring in the Prowling Serpapard. I'm not sure that they're running counter spells. Then we're going to go ahead and take out Sky Sovereigns, because we also don't know if they're running any Planeswalkers or creatures. Then we'll take out 1 Rishkar and 2 Servants. See how that does. Alright, this is a fine hand. We'll keep this. Alright, Island go. Well, we will Scattered Groves go. Prophetic Prism. Maybe they are a reservoir deck? It's just they're splashing white for something? I have no idea. We'll just play out Walking Ballista. Next turn we'll play Jade Light Ranger. I would like to be able to activate Brontodon the turn that we play it in case we need to kill something. Another Power Stone Shard. Alright, well, they certainly are artifact synergistic for something. Okay, Rishkar is an excellent draw for us, so we'll go with that instead of the Jade Light. Get in there. Prophetic Prism is mana fixing for them, so they actually could fumigate us this turn if they have another mana source. Yep, there's 5. Trophy Mage, what are you going for? Another Power Stone Shard. What are you planning to do with all that mana, opponent? You have me curious. That is for sure. I could play Brontodon and then still hold up the activation as well as a Blossoming Defense, or I could pump Ballista and swing with both. I think I'm just going to swing with Rishkar. Right, they want the Trophy Mage to stay alive for some reason. Let's play out a Brontodon. We'll play out Llanowar Elves. And in the turn, still got Ballista that can make green mana thanks to Rishkar, so we can still activate Brontodon. I feel like I should kill this Power Stone Shard with this one on the stack. So let's do that. They have to have something that they're wanting all that mana for, so I do not want them to have all that mana. Another Prism, okay? Maybe they're an Antiquities War deck. I'm just really not sure. Well, now they're going to be gaining a life every turn. Let's see. Let's go ahead and Jade Light pre-combat. Yes, we would like to draw that. That would be excellent. And I'm going to swing with everything. Do I care if the Llanowar Elf dies? I could keep it alive with a Blossoming Defense. I don't think I care. If it was the Ballista, I definitely would have kept it alive. There's a Ballista of their own. For 3. Renegade map, okay. Yep. Let's make them spend all their counters. We will shoot them in the face. Right, we will go to combat. And if they take this, they're dead. Right, they're not taking it. Well, I think we'll still play out Ballista. For 3. Which they knew about the Ballista from the Jade Light. Forgot that for a second. Okay, draw some cards. Litness Crane, digging for an artifact. Another Prism. Really wish I could spacebar there to get rid of the Dun. Alright, you got 2 mana left. And a Ballista. Okay? We are going to kill your ballista. And that's game. Yeah, and it didn't move at all that time. I'm not sure about this rank tracker, to be honest. Alright, I think that will do it for this episode. Again, there will be links in the description to both the original Craig Wescoe deck list and to this particular deck list. I really like how this deck plays and how it feels. Unfortunately, it doesn't feel as strong versus the red decks as it looks like it should be on paper. Perhaps there's some way to shore that up, whether that's running sweepers, either in the main or in the board, like Settle the Wreckage or some number of Fumigates, I'm unsure, but I'm definitely interested to see how this deck evolves going forward in Standard. And thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know in the comments and by leaving a like below. It really does help tremendously. And of course, subscribe if you'd like to see more in the future. I have been Tevaron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.